You didn't always feel this tired. There was a version of you that laughed easily. That didn't second guess every word before saying it. That didn't lie awake at 2 a.m. replaying a conversation, wondering what you did wrong. And somewhere along the way, that version of you got quiet. Not because of life, not because you changed, but because someone made you believe that your emotions were the problem. Think about the last time you tried to express how you felt to a certain person. Maybe you said you were hurt. Maybe you said something they did didn't sit right with you. And instead of being heard, the conversation somehow flipped. Suddenly you were defending yourself. Suddenly it was about something you did 3 months ago. Suddenly you were apologizing for bringing it up in the first place. And you walked away confused, exhausted, wondering if maybe you really were too sensitive. That confusion, that exhaustion, it wasn't an accident. Here's what most people don't understand about toxic behavior. It doesn't always look like cruelty. It doesn't always look like yelling or obvious manipulation. Sometimes it looks like someone who just has a way of making you feel unstable. There's a psychological pattern called emotional invalidation, and toxic people use it like a reflex. Every time you express an emotion, they redirect it, they minimize it, they twist it back on you. Over time, your brain starts doing something fascinating and terrifying at the same time. It starts distrusting itself. You feel hurt, but then you immediately ask, am I overreacting? You feel angry, but then you wonder, is this actually my fault? You feel unsafe, but then you tell yourself, maybe I'm just being dramatic. That voice in your head that doubts your own feelings? A lot of the time, it isn't yours. It was given to you. Stop for a second and think about this. When did you start apologizing for having emotions? When did feeling something start feeling like a character flaw? Because here's the deep truth that changes everything when you finally understand it. Toxic people don't control you with force. They control you with confusion. They create a reality where you are always slightly off balance, always questioning, always working to earn a baseline of stability that you should never have to earn in the first place. Psychologists call this destabilization. When someone consistently disrupts your sense of reality, your nervous system goes into a kind of permanent low-level emergency. You become hypervigilant. You start reading every silence, every tone of voice, every pause in a text message. You're not anxious because of who you are. You're anxious because of what you were trained to expect. Think about the people in your life who make you feel calm. The conversations you leave feeling lighter. The friendships where you don't perform, you just exist. Now think about the ones where you feel like you're always preparing, always managing, always editing yourself before you even speak. That difference is everything. Because love, real friendship, real connection, it does not require you to shrink. It does not ask you to become less so someone else can feel like more. Here's the part nobody talks about. When you finally start to pull away from a toxic person, they often become the most loving version of themselves. Suddenly they understand you. Suddenly they're sorry. Suddenly they see your worth. And that moment, that exact moment, is the most dangerous one. Because it isn't a change, it's a recalibration. They're not giving you love. They're restoring just enough stability to keep you in the cycle. The cruelest part of emotional manipulation is that it keeps you chasing a version of the person you met at the beginning, a version that was never fully real. So what do you do with all of this? You don't have to become cold. You don't have to become guarded or hard. That's not healing. That's just a different kind of damage. What you do is this. You start listening to the version of you that existed before them, the one who knew what felt right and what felt wrong without needing someone else's permission to trust it. Your emotions were never the problem. They were always the signal. And the people worth keeping in your life will never make you feel ashamed for having them. The exhaustion you feel right now, the self-doubt, the overthinking, none of that is proof that you're broken. It's proof that you felt deeply in places that weren't safe to feel. And that's not a weakness. That's the most human thing about you. Protect it.